Alright, off we go here. This is the match before the semis. Need to win this and then win one more. I'm playing various flavors of Warlock, as you can see here from all the Warlock decks I've built. My two starting points are Lock Giants and Aggro Lock. Then I have three kind of pre-sideboarded versions down here. I'm going to go ahead and play Lock Giants for game one. Hopefully I de-sideboarded it. I think I actually customized this list a little bit last round. I'm not going to focus too much on talking through my thought process. I'm going to hopefully come back later and do audio over this. Against Druid, these two cards are both pretty bad. I'm going to leave the other two. If he's an aggro Druid deck, maybe the Mortal Coil would have been okay, but even then it's not great. Certainly not against any of his starts that involve Innervate. Well, luckily I'm on the draw here, which is a lot better against him. It makes his Innervate start much slower. He can't turn one and show one Yeti me. Okay, so he's a control version as well. So I'm actually going to just lead out with the first play of a Mountain Giant in this game. I'm just going to go ahead and just draw cards until then. Hopefully, usually these Druid decks don't play Owl. They only play a 4-mana Disenchant guy. So you probably can't attack me this turn, yeah, with the 4/5. So he's going to be slow enough that I don't have time to get my Giant in play before I take a lot of damage. And typically these decks have one Tankmaster is the only really good way to deal with Giants in play. And here I can actually just go ahead and play something since I'm going to draw back up to 4-mana Giant again next turn. So I'm just going to just play a Harvest Golem out. Actually, I guess I could play it Farseer maybe. I think I'd rather have the 3 power guy in play. His most likely play here is going to be to play Defender Vargas. So I'll just put a 3/3 in play. I think it's really close there between Harvest Golem and Farseer. Okay, Chill and Yeti, sure. So next turn, if he can disenchant and get at me with that Watcher, it's going to be a little bit scary. But I always have the backup play of just playing Ancient Watcher, Protector. I can next turn I can Protector, Coin, that Watcher, Coin, Protector next turn, and have 2 4/5 defenders, which is going to be a really hard thing for him to get through. Even if he has a swipe or something like that, it's not going to help there. And here he almost has to have a Tink for my Mountain Giant, or else he's in trouble. And he'll already be playing from behind, which is nice. See a very deliberate pace of play here from our opponent. What is it gonna be, sir? All right, yep, more or less what I expected. Eats my guy. And here, ooh, okay. So what we can do now actually is we can coin out this Siphon Soul, kill the Ancient Watcher, and then we can just Soulfire this Chill and Yeti, and then hit him for 8, which I like a lot. Puts us way ahead. We do see playing the 3/3 over the Harvest Golem went a little bit worse for us in this spot. I'm not sure if that's consistent across the board. Probably did want to play Harvest Golem. It's just we want to keep a creature in play, and it's just a more resilient threat. But I think it was reasonably close there. I'm going to go out of my way here to not give my Mountain Giant Defender because I don't want to get it Black Knighted. So on my turn, for instance, I'm going to almost certainly be like drawing a card and maybe deploying some Ancient Watchers. Or I could just play Ancient Watcher and then one Defender on just it. Those are the 2 lines I'm considering here, depending on what we draw. Ooh, hello. Yeah, I'm going to just Defender up my Ancient Watcher. I'm just keeping him away from my Giant, just trying to keep it safe. Now if he's Black Knight, that'll be his entire play for the turn. He won't get to also hit my... Also be able to kill my giant. I get to put him a very low life total. He'll have to hit this thing, kill this with this. And next one I have a couple lines I can consider. I could just Shadow Flame, perhaps. An Ancient Watcher to try to like mostly wrath his board. I'm gonna have a couple good lines. That's fine. Sure, he has to trade off here. Alright, so now his swipe's going to be able to take out my Mountain Giant. Probably done about as much damage as I'm going to get to do with it. Unless we draw another removal spell here. Well, that was basically the best draw possible. And now we're going to go look at our... Oh, sure. I mean, he's very dead. Irrelevant. Yeah, I mean, just kill him. Okay, so we got game one, which is pretty sweet. Take my little screenshot. And go to the sideboard. He is also sideboarding. So now we get to start with our anti-control list, I think. I haven't played against Druid yet in this tournament. He's probably playing something like this mid-range Druid deck I'm looking at right here. Oh, sorry, no, he's not. He's probably playing something like my control... Oh, yeah, this deck. So probably playing something very similar to this. You know, 2 Chillwind Yetis, 2 Druids of the Claw, Argent Commander. I bet he's playing... Oh, maybe even this exact list. Something but very close to this, Ancient Watchers. So against this deck... One thing that Druid can do that other aggro decks or other control decks don't is it actually can put pressure on you with the aggressive Chillwind Yeti. So you can't go completely anti-control, but you can go pretty anti-control. So cards. So looking at my normal list, which is Lock Giants. Here, you know, cards like Mortal Coil are gonna be very bad. Cards like Blood Mage Thalnos aren't great. Hellfires are terrible. His guys are all 4/5 and larger, so we actually want to go ahead and cut all of that nonsense. I think I'm just going to start from scratch, maybe. I'm going to just get rid of this Murloc deck. No one plays Murlocs. Alright, so I'm going to build up my list now from scratch here. So we definitely do want the Soulfires just because they're just general utility. We don't want Mortal Coil. Now, unfortunately, Shadow Bolt doesn't kill his guys unless we have a +2 our spell power in play. We do definitely want both of these Siphon Souls. I don't even hate Dread Infernal. It's a large creature for 6. It's something we can come back to and consider, because we do want ways to be able to... I'll add the Thalnos for now, though. I suspect we're going to end up cutting the Thalnos. I'm also having food that's about to get here, so go ahead and do want both of those. Another card we can consider Crazed Alchemist, but I don't think it's great against him. Do definitely want Nat Pagel. Nat Pagel's great against any of his non-pressure draws. Since we do want to put things in play here, Big Game Hunter not great against Druid. We do want to have a board presence, so I like Harvest Golem. We don't really want Farseer. Don't really want any of these guys. Mind Control Tech, he doesn't really develop a wide board very often. Shatterstone Cleric probably too small. Definitely want our 1 Tank Master. Of our 4s, definitely want our 2 Defenders. May just want our own Chillwind Yetis here. Oh, they come down after his, which is a little concerning. But somebody also can consider Sen'jin Shieldmaster. It's pretty good against Chillwind Yeti unless he has a Defender of Argus to buff it. At least something to consider. Don't think we want Violet Teachers. I don't really want Twilight... Actually, Twilight Drake against him. It taxes his Disenchant guys. I could see playing like a Twilight Drake here. For the 5s, I don't mind Faceless Manipulator as a potential card. I don't mind having... Oh, don't want any of those. So the 6s, I think we do want the Bloodhoof. We don't want Argent Commander because, again, his guys are 4/5. We definitely do want Sylvanas. Definitely want Black Knight. And then of the big guys, probably we certainly want our Ragnaros, and we probably definitely want both of those. I could see cutting some Molten Giants. Probably still want to play at least 1. My guess is we're going to cut some of these 4s. We're a little fat in the 4-drop spot. I'm not sure which is the worst against him. So let's see what we're doing here. We're adding a Sylvanas. We're adding... I don't really want to face Manipulator against him. One of the ways they beat us is they kill us with Force of Nature and Roar. Which can be a little scary. The real question just becomes, is Shieldmaster what we want to be doing, or is Twilight Drake what we want to be doing? I'm really not positive. Blood Mage Silence we don't want. We have no spell damage left in our deck. Do we? That question: do we want both Molten Giants? I could see cutting one of these. Could see playing something like a Ysera against him. Ysera's pretty sick against his slower draws. If the game goes long, he's a really hard time removing it from play. So I'm just thinking through kind of how the game's going to play out. Do we want this Ysera maybe over this Jiraxis potentially? Actually, I think I like cutting one Molten Giant. I don't know if you can afford to cut the Molten Giant. Huh. I typically really dislike Twilight Drake. Let me just compare this to my starting point, which is here. Black Knight. So I'm cutting these 3 cards. Cutting these, it's 5. Cutting this is 6. Cutting those is 8. So I'm cutting 8 cards. I actually don't mind the Shadow Flame still. Shadow Flame is actually kind of sweet. Right, those 8. We're adding 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Alright, this is too many 4s. I think Twilight Drake's the worst of them. I think I do still want the one Shadow Flame. Shadow Flaming like our Sylvanas is absurd. Shadow Flaming a Giant to wrap this board is really good. I think Shadow Flame has a lot of utility still. And the last question now just becomes, do we want this Ysera over something? I think Ysera is really good in this matchup. I don't think I want it over any of the Giants. I think they're all still better. It's really a question of how much you hedge against the Innervate draws versus how much you hedge against the other stuff. That's the concern. I don't think we can afford to cut a Harvest Golem. I don't want to get too slow. Soulfire actually isn't great against them. Maybe it's kind of Soulfire. These guys are all 5 toughness. I kind of like that. Alright, I'm going to do that. Do we want any Soulfires? Is Soulfire just worse than, like, a Shadow Bolt or something? Maybe. I'm going to leave the one Soulfire in. I think it has utility. Title my deck, Anti-Druid Handlock. Now hopefully he didn't switch into some kind of like aggro Druid deck. That'd be pretty awkward. Okay. Oh, he's making some switches. Let's look at our aggro deck and see how does this play out against his deck. This is my starting point for aggro lock. I haven't played it against the control Druid decks enough to know how the matchup typically goes. I like this against all the other aggro decks, actually. Like, for instance, I think like Blood Knight's really well positioned in the metagame. Alright, I'm going to play Anti-Druid Handlock here. Hopefully we don't get aggroed right out of the tournament now we've cut all of our anti-aggro cards. Even if he is aggro, I mean, we still have, you know, both Molten Giants in our deck. We certainly have other things we can be doing against him. We also, Brad, I guess we did bring in 2 Sen'jin Shieldmasters too, so we were kind of a mid-range defensive deck now, which I think is actually an interesting place to be if he went aggro. Unfortunately, we're on the play here, which is really bad for us. I think I'm just going to ship the Protector, but leave these 2. I think they match up pretty well against all of his non-Innervate draws. I think Innervate we're just in bad shape. But a Sunfury Protector doesn't do anything with this hand. Well, it appears anyway. I'm just going to draw a card here. Oh, another Sun Protector. I don't think we can board these out, because I think they are pretty important. Ancient Watcher is such a great plan to stop his... It's the best thing we can do against Innervate. Oh, good. So he's on a slow draw here. He may have gone just as controlling as we are, but Warlock is always going to be a better control deck than Druid because we have card draw in our hero power, and we have, just as importantly, sorry, 1 second, let's make sure I do the math right. So next turn I have 4 mana. This is going to cost 4 if I draw a card, so drawing a card. We have Siphon Soul, the card I was about to mention. So we have hard removal for his big threats, and he doesn't. Maybe we want to bring in a Face Manipulator because it's so good in those spots, but other than Manipulator, immediately fishes. That's unfortunate. But we're going to play our Giant here. And now we have the moment of truth. Do we want to Soulfire this thing or not? I'm going to think before I play it because I don't want him to realize that I have Soulfire in my hand. Next turn we can just silence it and play a Harvest Golem, so I think I'm going to ignore it and save... Soulfire is so little utility against him, though, and Soulfire in silence actually does quite a bit. I really want to risk randomly discarding my Siphon Soul or my Sylvanas. My hand's very good, but I have all these... I have a couple of bad cards that I don't mind discarding. I think I'm going to risk it and let it sit there. It probably doesn't even draw a card. And we're like pretty far ahead now on the board. And we have a great plan for next turn. People, I think, freak out a little bit too much about Nat Pagle. It's not that big of a threat. I mean, it's certainly a great card in these control mirrors, but I think people go a little overboard in expending all of their resources to kill it when they can take a slightly, and especially in this spot, I can take a little bit slower line. Ooh, this is great for us if he's just hitting us for 1 and wrathing to draw a card. I assume he's just doing 1 and cantripping. I don't understand playing the cards in that order. Why wouldn't you draw your card before you activate your hero power? Ooh, and he didn't even draw a card off the Pagle. So now we can just kill Pagle for free with our Mountain Giant and just develop our board, or we can expend one of our silences on it. The game's going to go long. I don't know if I really care how much I care about putting pressure on his life total at this spot, but I do like putting some creatures in play. I think I'm just going to hit him and silence the Pagle. One thing to note against Druid, they do have Savage Roar. Some of them have the +2/+2 and Taunt mark as well, so leaving a creature in play isn't free like it is against some decks. But I just want to put pressure on his life total, especially with this hand where we have we're going to play a Sylvanas next turn potentially. We have a Soulfire. We can just kill him pretty quickly. And we have we have a defender which can pump 2 guys. We have a lot of ways to try to just kill them and end this game. And I like trying to do that when I can. So he is deep in thought here. I think we're a pretty huge favorite to win this game. Oh, here comes Innervate. That could change things. Probably just a 5/5 draw 2. Oh, and a Crystal. Okay, probably Ragnaros now, is my guess. He's on 8 mana. Ragnaros is even scary here. What's he going to play? Ironbark Protector? That doesn't do anything against us. We just kill it and hit him for 1 million. Okay, Ragnar. So as long as we don't get unlucky and lose our 25% on our Mountain Giant, well, that was the best case scenario. Yeah, there's no reason not to just do this. Hopefully he's not playing Molten Giants in his deck. It'd be really weird. I think they're pretty bad against me, but they're Molten Giant, give them both Defender would be pretty insane here. So he taps out for Sylvanas, and we kill him. And he's dead. That's game. Alright, take our little screenshot of our victory, and into the top 4. Alright, be back for semifinals.